about coming to this project. You got involved with the Gold Coats. Can you tell me how that happened and at what point you decided this story needed to be told?
I think it actually happened when I met them at the prison in San Luis Obispo. I mean, we read about the Gold Coat program before and we were intrigued, but it wasn't until I actually met the men and had the chance to have really long conversations and interviews with them that I felt like I was gonna have a way into this story and would be able to tell a very universal, deep story about compassion and the transformative power of care. And we stayed in touch. And I went to the prison a second time and took the script and read it with them. Had their feedback. They gave us feedback, and so their involvement was very important for me.
What kind of feedback did you get from them?
Well, it was a lot about, like authenticity. How do they actually care for their patients? What is the work? How do they, and it was a lot about what does the work do to them? Like how caring for somebody, what that meant for them. And the sentence that I heard very, very often was like, it made them feel human again. And that was for me one of the core sentences in making the movie. Like, what is it that makes us feel human? And I think what the Gold Coats showed me is that caring for somebody and being compassionate towards somebody else, but also finding compassion towards yourself is something that's really humanizing in an environment that is extremely dehumanizing.
Rob, tell us the story of how you came to this project. You play Lewis, a man who's experiencing the onset of Alzheimer's. Can you talk about him and why you felt the impulse to play him?
Well, A.V. Kaufman, casting director, reached out. When we read the script, I was totally floored with the humanity and the journey of the relationship between Frank and Lewis. I felt it was a very unique perspective of prison life. I was totally impressed with how it took on the story of aging in prison and people with early onset Alzheimer's and dementia and things of that nature, and how they are very limited with the resources that they may get, if any. And then I thought the relationship that Petra had wrote in the script was so beautiful to show, and a refreshing take on prison life. Things that we often don't talk about, the humanity of people aging behind bars and what that may be like. So I felt that this project could really bring a voice to that particular topic, and I just had to be a part of it.
What kind of research did you do on people did you meet with that could help you to play someone who's experiencing early onset Alzheimer's?
Yes, ma'am. I reached out to the Alzheimer's Association of New Bern, North Carolina, and they were very helpful in putting me in touch with people who are actually living this experience right now. And I met with two particular couples and got really intimate with their experience. And I learned even how they were impressed with us doing this story because it was challenging to them, even though they have resources, even though they have an environment that is more helpful for somebody in that particular position. So when I shared with them what we were doing, they were even more impressed, like, wow, we never even imagined somebody in that kind of environment living with this and how it must be. So they were very helpful and felt that it was important for us to tell this story also.
Petra, tell us about casting Rob and Kingsley Benadier, who plays Frank, and matching them together as this pairing, because it had to be perfect.
Yeah, I think as a director, you always also need a brilliant casting director, and A.V. Kaufman is brilliant, and Heather Boston did the casting in the UK for all the actors there. And I think the project needs to land in front of the actor in the perfect moment, because you're very busy. Kings is very busy. And I think I was also very lucky that this particular story landed in front of them in the right moment. And and the chemistry was there. It was just every day a pleasure to watch them work together. They're both forces of nature, and so it was for me as a director an amazing experience. They were also unbelievably well prepared, which for a Swiss director, I wasn't used to this level of professionalism. So it was really wonderful.
That's flattering in itself. Like just just working with Petra, I think Kingsley and I made it a challenge for us to get her to cry in between the takes. So that was kind of like our barometer. Is she crying? Okay, good, we got it. Okay, good. So we had fun with that too. Because she's such a beautiful director to work with, so in touch and in tune in the moment, and we had some beautiful moments making this movie.
I mean, it's so much about vulnerability also, like you're such a vulnerable character and so submitted to his illness and incarceration, what that does. And Kingsley's role also is so fine. It's such a fine line to walk, to not drop into sentimentality, which could easily happen with a topic like that. So it was really fine tuning everything. And it's wonderful when you can work on that kind of level of detail and finesse. And that was just a pleasure.
Rob, can you talk about how you and Kingsley together created this bond before shooting, or did it just come naturally with chemistry?
I believe it pretty much came naturally. I think we were so invested in our particular characters' journeys and our particular characters' story that he just came as Frank and I just came as Lewis. You know what I mean? We didn't really interact a lot outside of the set, and so we just really just came on as these characters and just played the true life of these characters. That's what we tried to do. So yeah, we had a great time. It felt like high level tennis. He was very prepared, and he had very specific things that he was into trying to give voice to his character Frank, and I think it just really organically came together. And then we were also trusting Petra as our director, who created such a safe and beautiful space for us to really be vulnerable and dropped in, that outside of the work, we didn't need anything else.
I think what was also interesting, we wanted to work with this, that they don't know each other. Like the situation when they encounter each other, they're kind of a mystery to each other. They don't know, can they trust each other? They don't know a lot about each other. And I think it's always interesting also to work with that, and not, it's many ways you can approach roles like that, but we kind of used that also, that you hadn't worked together, that you didn't know each other, and that you were discovering each other as you were working together. And that's, I think, really played nicely into the actual situation in the story.
My last question for you is, what's the most moving feedback either of you have had from the community that you're representing?
The most beautiful and touching and important feedback I got was I showed the film to an ex-Gold Coat who is also going to be here tonight. And he worked as a Gold Coat and is now a public defender, and he is in LA, and he saw the movie and he wrote back that he loved it and that it was so authentic. And I was so relieved, because that was the most important feedback for me, that we managed to represent something and give voice to people who can't necessarily easily, speak out for themselves. And so that for me was very, very meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to always have meaningful moments, especially after this movie premieres for the first time tonight at Sundance 2026. Because just, 30 minutes ago, we were at a little cafe here in Park City. I'm walking through, a young lady recognizes my jumper, and she asked me what I was here for. And I told her, hey, I'm here with the film Frank and Lewis, told her what the story was about. Instantly starts crying because her husband literally had just passed recently of early onset dementia, or Alzheimer's that moved into dementia. And so it was such a surreal moment for us to talk to people that literally are living this right now, and how much it affected them, and how important it was to her to say, thank you for telling this story. Thank you for putting this out there, because we need more people to have conversations about this ailment, So that literally just happened like 30 minutes ago.
Amazing. Look, congratulations on this film. I can't wait to see it. I'm excited for your premiere, and thank you so much for coming in to talk to us about it. Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.